Here's everything you need to know before opening 2024 Topps Series 1. 2024 Series 1 comes out on February 14th, just over a week away. And before you rip into some boxes, packs, you name it, here's everything you need to know about this rookie class and cards that you should be chasing. So in this video, we're going to break down the class into three major categories. The first being high risk, high reward. These are guys that have really high ceilings, but come with a lot of risk and probably going to be cheaper because of it. The second are going to be players who are going to be really good players. They put up good numbers. They statistically should be very solid baseball players, but they lack hobby relevance and upside for some reasons, which we're going to talk about in each of them. And then finally are the big top chasers of the class, the guys that you're really most likely hunting for. Now, one caveat that I'm going to say is we're not going to talk about any pitchers here. Unfortunately, pitchers don't hold much value in the world of baseball cards. If you're wanting for personal collection, there are some amazing pitchers in this class that you definitely want to consider looking at, especially if they play for your team, your favorite player, etc. But in terms of hobby value and guys that are, a top chase in this product, pitchers unfortunately just aren't going to be it. So we're going to start off with the good players who just aren't going to be hobby relevant, unfortunately. The first one is Sal Frelick, and he is a really good baseball player. He has a fantastic hit tool. He should put up solid numbers in the major leagues. But the problem is he doesn't have much power and he has above average to good speed. That's a player that is a fantastic real life baseball player who should help his team a lot, but is not likely somebody who is going to be able to really drive hobby value and be relevant outside of personal collections. So he's not a guy who I would necessarily be specifically chasing or hunting for. Great player, unfortunately, probably not a top guy to chase for this product. The next is Endy Rodriguez, catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is a really solid prospect, but he has the problem that he's a catcher. Now, you can have hobby value and you can be hobby relevant as a catcher. You have to be the cream of the crop, the top player. Adley Rutschman, he had a fantastic rookie season, but if you compare his prices to Gunnar Henderson, teammate, and honestly, Adley's a better player, Gunnar sells for more. And that's because, for some reason, the hobby just doesn't value catchers as much. So Endy Rodriguez, he's a solid player. He should have a solid career, most likely. But given the fact that he's a catcher, is going to limit his overall hobby upside. And then the final guy that I'm going to talk about is Colton Cowser, another Baltimore Oriole, talking about Gunnar and Adley. Now, Cowser is an outfielder, a position that normally brings some premium in the hobby. They are very popular players. However, the problem with Colton Cowser is just the amount of talent that the Baltimore Orioles have, that he's most likely going to be overshadowed. He is a really solid player, should put up good numbers. He has solid power, solid enough speed. He's able to play good defense, but the depth and talent that exists on the Baltimore Orioles right now, he's going to just be overshadowed by so many other quality players, both in terms of people who are already on the roster as well as people who are coming up soon. You've got Jackson Holliday, who should be up very, very soon, and he's going to be the talk of the town, the outfielder for that team. Cowser is going to be an afterthought, unfortunately, most likely. Our next category that we're going to talk about is our high-risk, high-reward players. The first one is Christian Encarnacion Strand, and he had some really, really good numbers in the minor leagues. When he got called up and kind of started to move up, he showed some struggles, so he has upside, no question. And given that one of the top chases, to give you a little preview here, is Elly De La Cruz, the Reds have a lot of young talent. They've got Elly De La Cruz, Matt McLain, Encarnacion Strand. They have a lot of depth and a lot of young talent that Encarnacion Strand is a solid power hitter, and if he's able to put everything together, he could be a very good value. That being said, that's an if. I don't view it as a guarantee. There's also plenty of competition and other good players in their system. Cam Collier is a really another good prospect that has big upside. He's not in this rookie class because he's still a prospect, but Encarnacion Strand just has that risk because he's shown flashes of being really good, but he's also shown moments of struggling, and we don't really know where he's going to end up. The next one is a guy from my Red Sox, which is Sane Rafaela. He has put up fantastic stats in the minor leagues. Honestly, he's an undersized player. He's a smaller guy, but he's hit really, really well in the minors. In his cup of coffee last year, in his brief stint in the majors, he didn't really show that much. But if he's able to translate what he does in the minors to the major leagues, he could be worth considering, and he could be a decent buy. I have been saying within my friend circle, my dynasty baseball league that I run, that his numbers and his stats and size are not too dissimilar from, a guy that I collect a lot, Mookie Betts. And I'm not saying that he's going to be that, but in terms of, risk reward, he's got plenty of risk. He's a smaller player. He's, not shown that he can do it at the top level, but the upside is no question there. The next guy we're going to talk about is Marco Luciano. Now, he has been a prospect forever because he signed at a really, really young age with the San Francisco Giants. So I think that his prospect stock and rookie stock is hurt by the fact that he's just been up and coming for so long. It has literally been years. He's only 22. He's not an old prospect, but people feel like he is because he's been in the Giants system for literally like 6 years. And because of that, paired with some ups and downs in terms of his stats and how he plays, he's a guy that has the upside, the talent, the prospect ranking is there, no question. But whether or not he pans out is debatable. He's in the higher tier of this high risk, high reward, in my opinion. He's one of the guys that I do think is worth chasing that likely will have lower values, but has big upside. But he does obviously also come with more risk than some of these other guys. Next one, Henry Davis, another top prospect. Now, he is also on the Pittsburgh Pirates, similar to Endy Rodriguez, and he actually used to be a catcher. He has since converted to be an outfielder, and he's shown good power. He's shown an ability to have, a good approach at the plate, but it's Pittsburgh. When was the last time there was a really, really relevant player on the Pittsburgh Pirates from a hobby perspective? Maybe Marte or Polanco, but even then, probably Andrew McCutchen is the only big name that you think about. So, Henry Davis is a guy who has the tools, who could be a really solid player. I most likely am going to guess that he's going to end up in the good player but limited hobby relevance versus a top chase, but he does have the upside that maybe is worth it. Final player in this tier is Curtis Mead. Now, he is a first base prospect. He had some incredible stats in the minor leagues. He did incredibly well, hit for good power, he hit for good average, he knows how to, take a walk, but he got injured last year. He was having some lingering issues and he just did not perform very well. And that also coincided with, some of the jumps to the higher levels of the minor leagues. And so that leaves the question of, is it because he was injured or is it because he had struggles with better pitching, with better defense, with just better approaches, better scouting, you name it. So he's a guy that I want to keep my eye on. I am a fan of his. I've tracked him for a while. I do think he brings upside, but he also, no question, has some risk. And now I want to talk about our 3 top chases of the product, which are Elly De La Cruz, who everybody knows. He had a fantastic call-up last year. His prices on his first Bowman cards went through the roof, and then they came crashing back down once he came back down to earth. He's a fantastic player. He can hit for power. He can run. He is incredibly fast. I mean, he stole home last year. He is a amazing talent who is incredibly fun to watch. He struggles with hitting for average and strikes out a fair amount, which is the concern with him. If he's able to put it together, he has all of the tools to, put together a season like Ronald Acuna did last year. He has in him the ability to steal 70 bags and hit 30 plus home runs, no question. I know Acuna did 40, but you get my gist. So he's a really, really good prospect and somebody who is obviously worth chasing. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows that he's probably the top chase of the product. The next guy that we're going to talk about is Evan Carter, who, if you watch the playoffs in the World Series, you know that he had an absolutely incredible season last year. He set, I think, some records in the World Series playoffs for rookie, etc. He was a doubles machine. He is an incredibly solid player who should be really, really good for years to come. The Rangers have a fantastic team there, and he is really, really, he's solid. He's just solid. No other way to put it. So he's a guy who is definitely going to be, in my opinion, one of the top 3 chases. Whether or not he's able to ascend to hobby stardom, time will tell. It will ultimately depend on whether or not he's able to, contend for MVPs and be in those conversations. But the talent is there. He showed it in the World Series at the biggest stage. So he's absolutely a guy that is worth chasing. And then our final guy is Jasson Dominguez. Now, Dominguez is going to be hurt to start the season. He got injured last year. He's going to miss a solid chunk of the 2024 season, but he has so much hype around him. I mean, his card prices were insane when the first Bowman card of his came out in 2020. He has all the tools. He is a five-tool player who can do it all. His ceiling and upside is incredible. He hasn't shown the ability to really put it all together just yet, but he had a really good time and played really well when he did get called up to the major leagues. Obviously, the Yankees are an incredible team. They have an incredible roster this year, and they have an incredible market, which is a very, very important thing. Some of these guys that we've talked about, the Pirates, there aren't that many guys who follow the Pirates like the Pirates. So even if a Henry Davis has a fantastic season and really puts together some amazing things, his market likely will be lower than Dominguez, even though Dominguez may not be playing as well. So simply knowing that he is a Yankee and he has a lot of hype behind him, Dominguez is a guy that is worth chasing. My recommendation on him, though, is you want to wait. All of these guys don't buy on day one, never buy on release day. The prices are inflated simply because of supply and demand. But Dominguez is a guy that, if you can time it, that you can buy him after the hype of Series 1. Maybe we're talking about Series 2 coming out soon, but before the hype of him coming back and starting to play again could come into play, you could see a very good buying opportunity with him. So he's a good buy. I do think that he has very big potential. He has the definite potential to be in the high risk, high reward, but just knowing the market and he has the most upside probably of anybody in this class outside of Elly. So I think that he deserves to be in this top chase category. So that's my overall thoughts on Series 1. Those are the guys that you want to chase. Obviously, there are the insert, short prints, you name it, the fun cards. I love Series 1 because it's an affordable rip. It's really, really cheap. I recommend buying the jumbo hobby boxes because it gets you a guaranteed auto. I really don't like that hobby boxes you get an auto or a mem, so I tend to personally go for the jumbo hobby. I'll definitely be buying some, definitely be ripping some. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I can definitely post some videos here of that because I absolutely will be grabbing some. It's a great rookie class, really exciting. And Series 2 could also be incredible. We've got a number of top prospects who are on the cusp of the major league. We mentioned Jackson Holliday. We've got Jackson Chourio. There are a lot of really, really good prospects who could also start the year with their teams and then be in Series 2, which would make that product amazing. And even better, Topps Chrome, an amazing, amazing product. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. I hope this is helpful. Let me know who you want to be chasing in this year's 2024 Topps Series 1 in the comments.